It's better to try something and do it imperfectly than to perfectly not try something.
Yeah.
Today's episode is brought to you by MMG Wealth Management. Now let's get on to the show.
Welcome to another episode of Going Rogue 2.0. I'm your host, Melissa Myers, and my guest star today is none other than the fabulous Jerry Clausen.
Oh my gosh.
Jerry, you are here because you have a way of just bringing joy to those around you. You have a heart for others in the community, the world, which we will talk about. And you have gone rogue. Actually, I think you were going rogue before going rogue was cool.
It wasn't a thing, right?
Right.
I wish I would have known it was called going rogue back then. I thought it was other things.
You could have had your own theme.
Yeah.
And I was thinking back, I believe that you are besides my two sisters, I've known you the longest of anybody who's been on the podcast. Decades, guy.
Yeah.
So, let's dive in. We'll talk about those things that we have in common that's near and dear to each of our hearts, values, community, impact, legacy. And for those of you watching, please share, please like, please follow, please comment, because it's the only way that we know that the message got out there and made an impact in your life. And the Going Rogue 2.0 podcast is really, truly about inspiration, motivation, education, and activation.
Activation.
Bang. Bam, right there. Yeah. So, Jerry.
Yes.
When I asked you to be on this podcast, what went through your mind?
Why me? What do I have to offer? I think of you, Melissa, as so many things, but I've known you a long time as a wealth manager and builder and financial planner. And, we work together professionally at other institutions. And I thought, I'm not a wealthy person. What do I have to offer? And that's what went through my head immediately. And then in reflection, my next response was, Melissa's my friend. She wanted me to be on her show, and I'm going to be on her show. So she must have a reason for asking me on. So here I am. That's what went through my head initially. In that process of, okay, what do I have to offer in the, prayer and meditation time and reflection, it's for me to spread what I can of good and let the people decide, discern what they need from it.
To hear what there is meant to be heard.
Exactly.
Hearing.
Right, exactly. Because like we were talking about, I can say one thing to three people, the same thing, and all three people may take it a different way. And I put my faith in a higher power, and just know that I'm here to offer what I can, and it's an honor to do something like this. I've never done this before, and I don't get to say that every day. So yeah. So that was kind of what went through my head. And then in preparing, I was, okay, what am I going to say, and how am I going to say it, and what am I going to sound like, and you're going
to sound really good because this is good
these
audio.
mics are awesome. Yeah. Hello. So the process of getting ready, what I realized right before I left the house was, I'm not afraid of what I'm going to say. I'm afraid that there's not going to be enough time.
That could happen. We've got the clock.
Yeah.
Where's the clock?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm happy to be here. So thank you for having me on. And I do have something to share.
How would it feel to know that your money and values were in alignment, that you were able to live your ideal lifestyle and bless others? MMG Wealth Management is your advocate for living and leaving a legacy. Visit mmg-wealth.com to schedule your complimentary welcome call today.
Well,
and as far as the wealth goes, like I also discovered I am a wealthy person. I'm rich in love and benefit and opportunity, and I want for nothing. I have wonderful friends, and I'm happy to be here, and hopefully we make an impact on someone today.
I hope so too. That's the whole reason I do this, and I know that you know how how I process things. And, their money is a component of our lives and we need it. It's a tool, but it's not the reason for my being. It's not my purpose. It's just a tool to help me do my purpose and live my legacy. And I always say that we're living our legacy while we're building what we're leaving as our legacy. And we can do that intentionally, or it could just be a byproduct of not even realizing we're doing it. So hopefully if we're cognizant of it, we're making a positive impact and leaving a positive legacy.
Right. And I love you mentioned that in your book, Going Rogue, that our purpose overrides our goal. And I love how you put that too, because that was another calming thing for me as I read through the book again, to say okay, I have a bigger purpose, and it's not to achieve a goal as much as it is to help my friend, and help build this community that you're working on and that I'm working on and that we're working on, and so I love that. And that puts me at ease a little bit. The purpose is higher, than a goal of income, security, however we want to look at it. Yeah.
Good. I like it that you're grounded and you know who you are, whose you are. And that comes with discipline and maturity and wisdom. And you are engaging right now in two-way prayer. And I know you've had some revelations that have come from that. Can you tell us what two-way prayer is, and then some of the things that you've realized?
Well, two-way prayer, as I understand it, is a way of communicating with my higher power, who I refer to as God, in a daily morning practice. They talk about the veil being lifted and things like that. And early in the morning is that time for me, and that veil is the thinnest. And so I get up and I have a discipline of breathing, a slight meditation, reading some good literature, mostly from the book of James is a great 3 letters, I think, from James. And then I have a question in my mind, how do I handle this thing that's in front of me? And I take a few deep breaths after I read, and I just write down what comes, where that veil is so thin, because it's more, it's just a truer connection. My mind hasn't been polluted by the day yet. My goals, what someone else might need, family, career, my personal goals, those aren't all really active at that point of day for me. So I'm able to hear a little bit more of a clearer, truer, fatherly voice. And that's the other thing too. The two-way prayer is also, you write it down. So I might say, Father, Creator, I have this thing in front of me today. You tell me how to clear this up. And it's not always, big, heavy things either. It's just, it could be, I'm so grateful to be here and have an opportunity today to serve you. How should I approach the day? And then I just honestly write down what comes to me. And then after it's all done, I can look at it and measure it by, is it loving? Is it unselfish? Is it pure? And there's one more that's written down in my journal that I measure it by. And if all those things are there in the responses, then it's true. It's good. If it isn't, if one of those things are missing, then it's not. Then maybe my ego has creeped in, or what I think, or my agenda.
And that's what I love too. You always are humble. You are always willing to self-assess, and that only comes through maturity.
Yeah. Well, it took a while to get there, but yeah.
Oh, speaking of taking a while, so December is a big month. We have the holidays.
Yes.
It's my anniversary last weekend. Your birthday's coming up. So a few years ago, you made a really big decision, and on the eve, basically, of your birthday. Tell us what that looked like.
Well, there's a lot of decisions, so I don't know exactly which one you're talking about. But there was it wasn't even my birthday. Well, I decided to stop drinking and using drugs. I mean, is that kind of what you're... Okay, all right. Yeah,
that's a huge decision.
It's humongous. It is huge, and it's the most difficult thing I've ever done. The most challenging, the most evaluating, inner work, because you share in your book, there comes a time we have to take action. So we know something to be true, good, loving, unselfish, honest. That was the other measure, by the way. Honest was the fourth one. Is it honest? And so it came time to take action. I knew for a long time that this was not right for me, and even in my darkest hours, there would be times when I would hear, that voice, that kind, loving, fatherly voice, say, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And it was time to do that. It was time to take those steps. And so I decided on the eve of my birthday to stop. I was going to take action. And so it's been a long journey. It'll be 4 consecutive years in February, so coming up, and but a 5-year journey. So that first year was pretty rough, and it wasn't perfect, but it was part of my process. And so and life has changed exponentially since then. It's so much has gone away that doesn't matter anymore. That I don't have to wonder, should I do this or should I do that? A lot of that is gone. Because now I have this reconnection with my higher power to give me that direction on a daily basis. I don't have to wait until my life is so far off track, or it's on fire or whatever. The house is literally falling apart. I don't need to wait for that anymore. I can do it daily. Because at the base of it all, so thank you so much for bringing that up, Melissa, because at the base of it all, my addiction was a symptom of my condition. It wasn't like the addiction being my condition. That was a symptom of something else that was wrong. And what was wrong was a spiritual sickness that I had, and I still, I don't want to say I'm over it, because I don't have it. One day at a time, I get it. And, that's that daily surrender. And that's what I find in that 2-way prayer. And is that daily, like, this life isn't about me anymore. I'm in it, not of it. It's how can I put something out into the stream of life that is going to produce, and by produce, I mean to the greater good, help other people. I can turn my mess into my message now, my mess into my message. And it's a great relief. Yeah. There's a whole bunch more in there, that we could talk about. But that's the gist of the decision. Yeah.
Do you have a couple really good ahas and moments where you're like, I'm so glad I'm not doing that anymore?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, oh gosh, a big aha. I guess one big aha was like, I've had this with me the whole time. The answers have been with me and in me the whole time. Every question I have is already here. All I have to do is ask. That's a big aha. And another big relief aha is I don't have to perform for others anymore. I don't have to measure up to what is wealth. I don't have to measure up to, what is an ideal weight. I don't have to measure up to like how many employees do I need to have, based on worldviews, other people's opinions, my own comparisons, the saboteurs, that we bring along with us everywhere we go. If we're not conscious about that. So those are a couple really big relief things that have been taken off my plate.
Awesome.
Yeah,
You just released them.
They're just gone. Yeah. But they want me back. They want me back.
So
and
you have
getting
to have
ready
that-
for this podcast, they wanted me back. These memories, these old thought patterns keep coming back.
And you had a phone call in the middle of it when you
Oh
were
my
thinking about
gosh,
it.
yeah.
That was like something to try to derail you.
Oh, full on, Melissa. Full on. Yeah. So I'm sitting there in my meditation, like, okay, get your thoughts together and just sit with it. And, you have something to offer, and this is your purpose, and this is part of what's going to happen for you and help your friend. And so I'm sitting there in the meditation, the phone rings, and it's a contractor that we had doing a whole bunch of work on the house this whole year. And he wants his money, but the work isn't done. And it's it's a very simple thing for me. But the argument ensued, and so anyway, during the phone call, I set my boundary. Here's the boundary. This is what I have to offer. You don't want it. That's your choice. I got stuff to do. The thing about you're not allowing us to complete this, and different things like that came down, from him, was not mine. That was his. Like, here's the offer. You don't want it. That's fine. Merry Christmas. I have other things to do. And so I went back to it. So after that phone call was over, it was good. And I was really happy that I maintained, my boundary, because not that long ago, I would have thought, oh gosh, I'm not doing it right. I'm not, he's right. I'm being this, or I used to let people tell me what I thought, how I felt, who I was. And in sobriety, I don't do that anymore. That's not up to him or you or Paul or my other half. It's not up to anybody anymore. That's for God to tell me who that is now. And I get to start my day over as many times as I want. So after that phone call, I didn't have to start the day over. I knew what to do. I have the tools now to say, okay, here's how I'm having this feeling, and it built. And it like got stuck like right in my heart, you know what I mean? And it just started expanding, and I didn't like it. It was uncomfortable, and it wasn't anger, but it wasn't comfort either. And so I sat and I asked, like, okay, what is going on here? And these are feelings that I'm having, but they're feelings. They're not any truth to any of it. It's just how I feel. Period. It just doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean he's bad. It doesn't mean I'm bad. He's right, I'm wrong, or vice versa. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means I don't like this feeling. So I was able to, calm myself down, and in just a few short minutes, I was laughing at it. Like, oh, this is the enemy. This is the derailment trying to happen, for coming on your show today and get me off track and take my thoughts into a negative thought pattern instead of a positive thought pattern. Take me out of, I have something to offer, into, you're a lousy person who doesn't pay his bills, which is not true. Right. Which is not true. And so that's a big aha for me in this program too, is that I just, it's not up to, I don't give that away anymore. I don't give that ability away.
Just because somebody else is upset, you don't need to be taking on their energy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I have some great friends in my support community now, that, I can talk to, and if I need help outside of myself, but it's not alcohol and drugs and I used to call it dope man, when something like that would happen. And it's just like, that's just so freeing, so much to be grateful for in that alone.
Well, I'm glad, because I have so enjoyed our monthly sessions that we have.
Me too.
And our church did a whole church study, and the very last segment of it was talking about people in your inner circle and who's with you on your real journey, not just like living the fun stuff, but the hard stuff too. And every time after one of our sessions, I always feel so much better. And you are one of the people on my inner circle.
You mentioned that to me a visit or two ago, and I was so honored by that. And I love hearing that from you and people like you. And it matters. It matters that we speak kindly to people, and it matters that we say I love you, and it matters to say that you matter.
Right.
It really does make a difference for people. So sometimes I will think like, I'm gonna text my friend, or I'm gonna check in with my mother, or last week I had a friend of mine, his mom passed away, and I thought it was a high school friend, best friend, like a brother. And we recently reconnected in the sobriety program. That's another thing it offers is rekindled relationships and things like that. And that was one of the relationships. And he texted me late at night and said, hey, mom's over her pain now. And I knew that was his way of telling me she had passed. And the next morning I get up and I was like, I'm going to call him. I'm going to call him just to let him know, instead of text. Text is fine, but, also like there's something greater than that. Sometimes you need to say, you matter, you're my inner circle, I love you. You need to say that word are those words. And for a hot minute, the thought entered like, he's got family, like, we haven't been that close. We're just getting back, who am I to offer up a loving ear? What a shame not to do something kind and loving for somebody because I think something different. So I called him. We had a fantastic, probably half-hour conversation or maybe even better. And we went down memory lane and we talked. And he told me how important the phone call was to him and, that it made his day better. And so I'm really glad that I did that, So I really appreciate you telling me that I'm part of your inner circle because it does matter that we say those things to people.
Right. It's part of your living legacy.
Oh, yeah.
It really is.
See, I'm learning so much.
Yeah.
I'm learning so much.
We can learn, the lessons that we have to learn on our own. We can learn lessons from each other. Shorten the learning curve.
Yeah.
Let's not recreate the wheel. And you create lots of new wheels, and you always have,
fun,
and especially in the giving back and all the things that you've done in Muskegon, and now small town Muskegon Jerry is international with his Costa Rica property.
That's got a nice ring to it.
Yeah,
I like that.
And that's part of what I would like to let the audience hear, that you can do whatever you put your mind to. And that's what my mama told me. And that's why the book's dedicated to her. And I'm pretty darn sure that 30 years ago, you weren't ever envisioning having property in Costa Rica that you could rent out and that you could use that to make a positive impact in that local community. And tell us a little bit about that journey. You can start wherever you like.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go back a little bit then. Okay.
Yeah.
Because when little town of Muskegon, which is a fantastic community. I absolutely love it. And as I'm driving into Grand Haven today, I'm feeling the same way. Like we are so blessed to live in West Michigan. It is a profoundly generous, beautiful, kind place to live. It really is. And of all the fundraising I've ever done, I'm just going to also add, I've never been told no, ever, in an ask, ever. I might not get exactly what I asked it for, but I never was told no. And I just want to say that about our little West Michigan community here, that it's like that here.
Shout out to West Michigan.
Shout out to West Michigan. It's beautiful and kind and generous. But anyway, so way back, in Muskegon, went to hair school. And the one thing I heard was I wanted to be a platform artist where you get up on stage and you do all the stuff in front of people. And that's what I wanted to do. And so how do I do that in little Muskegon? And you find the words of advice I got repeatedly were, find somebody who does something that you want to do and do what they do. So it's a simple like mentor-mentee relationship. Go to work, take action. You're right. Like
Don't just talk about it.
Yeah. Sitting on a couch ain't gonna do it. And so I found a couple named Jesse and Flo Briggs, who are internationally known artists in the industry, and I got a job at Yellow Strawberry in Fort Lauderdale, and it was fantastic. But there I was from Muskegon, and my first go there when they invited us down was at a big cocktail party in an event called Hair Color USA. It's been renamed since then, but it was the biggest color convention in the world. And there I was, not even like, I didn't even have my hair license yet. But I had the desire, and they saw the desire. So they said, hey, why don't you come to this party and, like blah, blah, blah. We'll see what happens over the weekend. And we ended up being in the same suite that they filmed The Bodyguard, where Rachel Marin is having this fundraiser. And there was fireworks in the background, and one of the security guards hit on her in this particular scene. It was that suite that we were in. And I looked around. I was like, "Where are we?" It was like the penthouse in the Fontainebleau. They're right there in Miami Beach.
Sweet.
And I'm thinking like, "Oh my gosh, where have I landed?" From Muskegon, Michigan, just out of nowhere. And I thought, "Holy crap! Wow!" no way. Yes, I want this. This is great. And it was all, so anyway, all that it was, Flo is a Cuban immigrant and Jesse is a Texas truck driver. That was their background. And they built this multi-million-dollar empire. And so that's when I learned I can do anything I set my mind to. Was that. After that, it was very hard, by the way, because I had left everything that I known, and I had to choose, at the time, between bus fare, cigarettes, or food. It was hard, and so that was how I lived for a while there. And then when that was all over, I thought, wow, I can do anything. This has been great. But that was the beginning of my spiritual malady too, because what I realize now is I can do anything I put my mind to. Now I can do all things with Christ who strengthens me. So there's a little bit of, I had to add to that. Like, it's not Jerry doing it anymore, because when I edge that out, what is that ego? Edging God out. When I do that, it's bound to derail.
And it's a lot harder.
Yeah.
Because it's like your own force. Trying to get it done. You can do it. But when you've got a partner,
exactly,
the best partner in the world.
Exactly. And it just makes so much easier. I was raised by a single mother, and I had wonderful people, my grandparents, my aunt and uncle. I had wonderful people that helped with that whole thing. But my father figure was my grandfather was that guy, and but there was no dad, and so there was always been that father missing, always the father missing, and in this program of finding out that it was really a spiritual malady lying under it all, I have my father back, and I have like the best dad. I have the Heavenly Father now, couldn't ask for anything better than that, and it was with me the whole time. It wasn't ever gone. It just took me a while to get there. And so anyway, this possibilities from this experience, and again, all kinds of stories in there, but that realization that, here's this couple that did this wonderful thing, and what a great inspiration for me also to see that in a human form or a physical form, like here's something fantastic that they created out of nothing. And so that's when I knew it was possible. And when I came back, opened up a salon that was wildly successful, I knew I always wanted to go back there. I always knew I wanted to go back to South Florida and semi-retire, because I loved the tropics, subtropics, anything with palm trees and beautiful beaches and sunny weather, right? And South Florida was where that was for me at the time. And then I'm going to be double nickels. I'm going to be 55 in a couple weeks here. And so we're thinking about, like, okay, so what are we going to do for the rest of our life? And I want warmth. I love West Michigan, but it gets a little closer to the bone every year. So what we may have for a vacation home or a retirement home or whatnot, and so X, Y, and Z happens, and we start thinking outside the box a little bit, and we get together with some friends, and we're like, well, hey, what happens if one day we got to get out of here? Oh, what happened? What would be our plan B? And we get together with some other families and start looking into, what would be a plan? Like, how could we build a community outside of our community? And we talked about it with some other families, and we looked into some different properties, different countries, and we landed on Costa Rica. Economy, safety, it's lifestyle, blue zone. It's people live the happiest and most fruitful over 100. And Costa Rica won out. And so things settled down a little bit. And so the other family was like, okay, we're good. Well, I had already done all the legwork. I'd looked at real estate, looked at different areas and different things like that. And so the legwork was there, and so I looked, I looked at Bruce and said, why don't we go down and see anyway? Like, let's go for a trip. Let's go look at some of the stuff that we've been investigating, and we did. And I had been doing about 8 months worth of like real diligent work and talking to a realtor and having some personal contact and narrowing down what area we wanted to go to. And so we went down and we looked, and nothing came up. We were down there for 2 weeks, and we went there to buy property, by the way. We didn't go
You
there
were
for
ready.
that. We were
You were
ready.
ready to
We were
sign.
locked and loaded. We knew, like, whatever, and behind all that was the prayer. Behind all of it was like, okay, help us, send the right people, put us in the right spot, give us show us the way. We want to do this for the greater good and all that sort of thing. And so we knew it was an honest attempt. It was an honest attempt. And no matter what came, we weren't going to regret looking into it, right? Where we would regret not looking into it. We don't regret, what was it I heard just today? It's better to have tried something and failed imperfectly than to perfectly never have tried at all. I messed that up all the way, but you get the gist, right? Like,
I get the gist.
It's better
Everybody, y'all get the gist.
Yeah, it's better to try something and not and do it imperfectly than to perfectly not try something.
Yeah.
And then you're left with this question in your mind. So anyway, so there we were in Costa Rica. We're looking at the property. We're in this wonderful pool, loving where we landed. The property that we landed at, that we rented, became an inspiration for our future, by the way. So we're sitting in the pool, and nothing added up, Melissa. Like they needed too much renovation. It was too expensive. It was out of our price range. Whatever. Like nothing came to fruition, and I remember giving up, and saying to Bruce, we tried. We gave it our all. We gave it 110% is what I want to say. You know what I mean? And it's just not for us, but we tried. So no regrets. Let's just lay back and have a great vacation. And I looked up, floating in the pool. I said, thank you for this opportunity, God. And I swear to God, not 5 minutes later, the phone rings. Jerry. So a realtor. We found everything on your list, and it was 20% below our low end budget for the investment. And I was like, no way. And so anyway, we went and looked at it, and there it was. And I mean, I say all that to reiterate, for me, it's the surrender that does it for me. It's the giving in to what my purpose is. It's not what my goals are, what I want. It's when I turn it over and say, all right, I've tried it all. Thank you for the opportunity, God. And when I do that often, it's like, okay, here it is. Here's your answer, or here's your version of it. You know what I mean? You might not get this, but here's what I have.
Here's
for you.
what it's going to look like.
Here's what it's going to look like for you. Yeah. So in that, we ended up in this wonderful little gated community with a pool. A lady lived next door to us, and her boyfriend, and they took us in immediately. They don't speak English. We don't speak Spanish. We're students of Spanish, but like, I think I speak Spanish, and then he hears a commercial in Spanish, and I'm like, I don't speak Spanish. I'm trying to speak Spanish. So anyway, but it's to speak a language. The point is to communicate. It's not to speak the language perfectly, right? And so we're communicating. So in that respect, we are speaking with each other. We're communicating, and they just took us in right away and said, hey, well, you don't have any furniture. You want a couple chairs to use? And hey, I got this old mirror. They literally gave us things to use while we're sitting on the stoop of our furnitureless little cabin in the jungle in Costa Rica. It was beautiful. And again, that has gone on, and we're still friends, and they still help, and all that sort of thing. So we bought that for our retirement, vacation home. And, but since then, again, not my plan, someone else's plan, power greater than myself, we've met more people. It's just a lovely community. And they're like, oh my gosh, so are you going to rent it out? Are you going to offer that to other people? And I was like, well, that's not the plan. You think about it. A lot of people do that around here. And so we thought about it, and we found a guy, and, he said, yeah, I'll do that for you if you want. And so we started renting it out. And it was a slow go at first, but fruitful. It was cool. I was like, oh, I'm cool with this. And then he was built his own. Well, he stopped working for us, so we found another guy. And it's this. So we're 2 months into this season, and it's like just exploded. just beat last year already, and in bookings, and the income is very promising. And so, and the beautiful thing is about it too, I don't do anything. I mean, I communicate and I keep an eye on the communication that happens in our management group. But the less I do, the better it works. And that is crazy. That is crazy, right? So right. I'm just sitting there. I'll be relaxing. I'll be in bed. I'll be sitting here with you, and my phone will here's, this been deposited in your account, as we're sitting here in West Michigan talking.
And you get to help deposit in other people's account because you have that team.
That is the miraculous outcome of it all. And another reason I love your book, because you talk about teams in there all the time. And I've been able to live this humongous life, and been spared this like disparaging, end, in finding my recovery. And you talk about teams all the time. I've done nothing alone. Nothing have I done on my own. There have been so many people that have guided me, mentored me, coached me, forgiven me, persecuted me. Even those guys, I can't forget those guys, because I have to remember that's what I don't want. I don't want to be like that. So they teach me, even the quote unquote bad ones, the ones I don't like, they teach me something too. And I don't want to forget that. So I need all those elements to live this life and to be able to give and realize that I don't do any of this by myself. Being on this right now, like I wouldn't be able to share what I'm sharing for the greater good if it weren't for you. I'm not doing this. You're doing this. I'm part of your thing. So God bless me, God bless you, and God bless us. We're
Amen.
Amen. Yeah. No. It's part of the whole thing. So anyway, that's the international piece of where we're going with that, or where we are now. And the goal is to add more properties, because it's very inspirational, and there's a market, and people love it, and we love doing it. And so we have a lady who helps us clean. Her husband helps us, troubleshoot different things.
Tell them about, was there a wire that somebody fixed?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So we're renting it, and the market is different. So when I rent to Americans, it's one way, and it's cool because I understand that, because I'm American and I like it the way I like it. When we rent to Ticos, and we get to say that, it's not derogatory. It's not derogatory. It's cool. I checked several times. So when I rent to the Ticos, or the people, the natives there, they just, it's a whole different market. It's less to worry about because they fix stuff. So we rented out, and it was like one of the first two of the season under this new management team. And I get this WhatsApp. Everybody communicates on WhatsApp. Hey, the power's out, and I'm like, oh crap. Well, Bruce, he takes care. That's my other half. He takes care of the bills, and he's away. And I'm like, oh my God, did we pay the bill? Did they cut the power off? And I start getting these pictures like, yeah, the neighbor's lights are on, ours are out. And I was like, okay, well, there's a flashlight in the bathroom. I'm just like, I don't know what to do. I'm at 5.
This is not in my manual.
Right. I'm in my living room, and in Michigan, and the power's out in Costa Rica. I don't know what to do. And she takes a picture. The manager, comes on, and Juan, he's awesome. And he's like, don't worry about it. Yep, we'll get somebody over there. And she was like, oh, don't worry about it. This is a lady who rented her house, whose power's out. She's like, I got it. She shimmied up the pole, flicked the switch, all back on. No worries. I got it. It's all fixed. She shimmied the pole and fixed the wire, and power's back on. Nothing to worry about. But then she says, you might want to get this fixed for your next guest. Everything's good, but in the future.
Otherwise, we have the shimmy up the pole instructions in the book.
I'm amazed at the people there, but that's the community spirit there. Like, I mean, if you need something, they honestly want to help you get it with nothing in return, by the way. Like they ask for nothing in return. And it's just a real wholesome, honest community that I love being a part of. And I find that more and more here too. You know what I mean? I think it's where we look for it, we find it, right?
Yes.
So as I'm exposed to other things, that's what's coming true here also, is like, we're doing this in a community right now. What we're doing right now, it's not. I don't know. It's really not much in return, right? Except to help one another spread the good.
Yep. Inspire people.
Yeah.
Motivate people.
Yeah. So it's where we find it, and I'm finding it more and more and more because you two are in my inner circle. Like I could tell you anything, and we do talk about a lot of stuff.
We sure do.
Yeah.
We should have cameras on us at our sessions.
Yeah. No, there's a podcast. Yeah.
That could be a new one.
Yep. Absolutely. So the possibilities are endless, as long as I don't forget the one who strengthens me. You know what I mean? That's God. So there's I'm not doing any of this on my own. Yeah.
I'm glad you realize that and can share that and appreciate the journey and
absolutely.
Look forward to what's ahead.
Absolutely. Possibilities are endless. And so I'm also looking forward to our session with you. Me and Bruce are going to be scheduling something with you because as I was reading over your book, I was like, wow, these are all my beliefs and practices. Just my practices are a little scattered. So like you mentioned, teams. You have a team of people. I have a team of people in Costa Rica. I have a team of people that help me here in Michigan, with my house, and the people, all my suppliers that work for me and get things that I need for my little studio for hair that I use at home. That all requires people. And I don't want to forget that. You know what I mean? I'm not just placing an order. There are people behind that. That are doing that work and that have families to feed and things to do and things like that, and and I love that part of realizing that because, when I had Glamazon, can we go there real quick?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I had Glamazon, 2014. So I think that was 12 years. 12 years I had that. And that was wonderful. And I think we had 14 employees at one point at full tilt, and it was great. And but I knew right away. So we opened that in 2002, and within 6 months we did our first fundraiser because something in me knew like okay, you're a part of this community. You have to support the community of all of its needs, and I just didn't want to take money. You got to put some back and keep the flow going and all that sort of thing. And so we did, Child Abuse Council for 5 years. We did, let me see what else. Frauenthal, we did Kids Food Basket. We did Every Woman's Place was, I think, the very first one we did was Every Woman's Place. And so we took each of those on for a number of years. And we took all of the money that we raised and all the activities that we supported and put it all toward those organizations for a certain time frame. And it's addictive. There's sneaking anyway, I suppose, but you want more, and that's, that's just it. You want more and more and more. So we decided to foster. We wanted to do some other things. A lot of things happened. We went on cruises and we really went up the scale in the business model of salon ownership. Bruce and I did, and it came to a point where they wanted to brand us. A big hair brand wanted to brand us in Las Vegas, and I was just like, oh my gosh, my stomach sunk because something in me didn't want. I was working 70 hours a week. And it was great and rewarding, but I didn't want to do that my whole life. And so what would that be? What would that be? And in the back, we had just gotten back into going to church at that time too. So we started getting introduced to some scripture again and some right thinking again, and still full on in addiction. But we knew it wasn't right. And so anyway, foster care came into mind, and we wanted to do that. So when that offer of branding in Las Vegas came about, it was like, you gotta get out of here. You don't want to go down that road. I mean, like gifts started rolling in and here, try this and do that. And it was almost palpable that you could feel, okay, we're going to do a whole bunch of stuff for you now, but we're going to need this in return. And it was never said. but that feeling was there that like, I don't know if I want to be in that deep.
Like a slippery slope to being
Indebted to.
Yes. But
Yeah.
you knew it. You were having that awareness.
Yeah. So that was a major fork in the road for us that steered us away from like big salon ownership to, more community-minded things, more honest, like more, there's grassroots down home. I don't know how I want to put it, but like within my house. And maybe now that I'm talking about it, even I can hear like there's some cleaning up my house, my house, my shell where I live, which is my body, my mind, my spirit. And, I think all that happens for a reason. And I'm glad I didn't do that move. It got darker. You know what I mean? It wasn't over with. In fact, it had just begun, to be honest with that, the cleaning up of old ways and old thinkings and damage and different things like that. And so that restoration, though, is beautiful and it's worth it, And so it's going on metaphorically, spiritually, physically, mentally. It's full tilt right now. And it gets easier. It doesn't go away. It just becomes easier to manage.
I love it when you tell me about the positive impact that you had in somebody's life. Because she went on to, so there was a ripple effect. Talk about that.
A ripple effect. Again, great point in your book that I like, the ripple effect. So, so being community-minded, giving back, being part of our culture at the salon that we had, it instilled into the employees, staff, the team members, the service providers. And some of the best things are when I would hear people talk about it, like not my script, not because Jerry's listening or Jerry's watching. I overheard some things like, this is a selfless act of giving outside of yourself. And I just remember tearing up when I heard that, like, oh, those are my babies. Those are, that's beautiful.
They get it.
Yeah, they get it. Like, and I don't need to tell them. They get it. Honestly, it's perfect. So I think we were in the last, year maybe of Glamazon, and we were shutting down and like things, I was taking steps to wrap it up at the business and things like that. And I started getting these appearances from former employees that will come back and tell me things about the impact I had on their life. And one of the most touching was, a young lady who came back and she thanked me for the opportunity and for what I had taught her and that giving back. So she had been going for some time to Vietnam to teach young ladies, survivors of human trafficking, how to do hair so they would have a way to live on their own they don't have any idea how to live because they have been sold their whole life. And so this young lady came back to say, like, I'm doing this, and I do this periodically to go back and teach people how to do hair so they can support themselves. And so thank you, she said. And what a beautiful testament to community and ripple effect.
Yeah.
And there have been a couple others also, but that was one that really stands out for me. And if you're listening, you know who you are, and thank you, and I love you.
Aww.
Yeah.
I love you too.
Yeah, right. It's a beautiful thing. And so ripple effect. So that was a really big one. But something more recently and personal with you and the ripple effect is we're sitting there doing hair, and you were telling me about some of the things you were doing, and you said, I'm going to run before that, you asked me to go to Machu Picchu with you.
Yeah.
And I had a bad knee and a bad back and a hip and, like my arthritis and my feet and everything. It was all
You sound like the crooked man.
Oh, it was horrible. It was horrible. Yeah. And my weight wasn't, and oh my gosh. I didn't feel physically fit, so I said no, but you asked me to do a couple other things, and then you brought up the Seaway Run. The Seaway Run literally starts in my backyard. Like, it's 3 blocks away from my back. I can see it from my house.
And you've lived there for?
A long time, 25 years. 25 years, never did it. And you were at my house, and you said, "What do you want to do the Seaway Run with me?" And I remember thinking, like, oh God, if you ain't doing this, Jerry, you ain't doing nothing. Like, if it's a no, it's always going to be a no. You just tell her you ain't never going to do it. And so I remember I told you yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And so your ripple of just being healthy, is carried on to me. And then when I would tell my group of friends, I had 2 people sign up to do the run in support of me being in support of you being in support of something bigger than you. And so your ripple like dropped into my pond and really rippled out. And so I have an accountability partner in going to the gym now. And we're still at it, and we're still keeping each other accountable and things like that. So that's something that's still out there. I had a friend tell me that your ripple turns into a wave.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
So-
I think that's a great way to end it. With your ripple becomes a wave, and if you want to ride the wave over at Costa Rica, we'll put a link in the show notes so that if you want to check out Jerry's property down there for a vacation opportunity,
Beautiful.
You'll have that contact information. And I just really appreciate all of our listeners and watchers, viewers, and Jerry, I appreciate you and
you.
Paul. So thank you, and we'll sign off until next time. If you like us, please share us, leave comments, and subscribe. Have a great day.
The content of this podcast is educational in nature and not intended as any form of or substitute for personalized investment advice. Melissa Myers owns Bayou Financial Planning, LLC, which does business as MMG Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor, providing personalized investment advice under a standard agreement for a fee.